What is up, guys? Quick video here. Just got home from work and my box from DigiKey has arrived. Replacement parts. I don't think this one I fixed. And then my other circuit board, yeah, the one I rolled the wires up on, I fried the microprocessor and the voltage regulator by accidentally sending in too high of input voltage. I was thinking this was rated for a little over 30 volts, but that was the other buck converter chip I was using. This one, the smaller one, actually only accepts up to 20 or something like that. 24, but I think rectified from the 24 volt AC transformer, it's probably 30ish or so, and it blew up the capacitor and then the chip. So let me set this up right here. I know my layer is still a mess. Let's kind of see what kind of stuff I got here. Yeah, most of this will be packaging. Receipt. And then we have all the components in here. Got here. Oh, okay, this is my connectors that I like to use so much. Now this, if you go to like something like Fry's Electronics, let's get some light on this. If you go to like Fry's Electronics, you know, this kind of stuff will break you. It's a fortune. I actually got myself a little couple different style this time. I got the kind of straight up and down, which I normally use. The right angle. Oh my goodness, I grabbed the wrong kind. Look at that, dude. That happens sometimes. I clicked related items. I thought I was ordering the same part number. Oh, I know what it is. Yeah, somehow clicking away a DigiKey, I ordered the wrong ones. Wow. Although this isn't that bad because I have the feeling it's going to fit on another circuit board. Let's get back to that part in a second. What is this? Connect. Oh, it's the same bag. That was weird. Empty. These are the little tactile buttons. You go to, like, again, a Fry's Electronics, you're gonna pay a couple bucks just to get 2 or 3 of these. These are like, I don't know what they were, like 16 cents each or something, 20 cents each at DigiKey. And I like to order 2 colors. Kind of weird how the packaging is so weird how they package it this time. There's the red button ones, and then these are the blacks. And I'm not out of them yet, but I've been using them up, so this is weird how they package these. Somebody, there's like, I ordered like 10 and 10, and there's like 6 and or 7 and 3 or something like that. I don't know why they packaged it like that. And another bag, I can just chuck. And basically, I have these little, and then let's see what else is in here. MOSFET N channel 30 volt. All right, I got these for a particular reason. I've been using the MOSFETs, you know, to try to like do that step up power supply from 12 volts to 300 volts, you know, to run my that VFD. These are high current at a lower voltage. You know, their max working voltage is 30, which is one of the lowest ratings for MOSFETs. But it's because it's pretty high. And I think it was like 80 amps or something. So I'll have to use a knife. But those are just N-channel MOSFETs. They are the TO220 package, I believe. TO220AB, which is you ever seen like what a voltage regulator looks like a 7805 or something? It's like looks like that. This is the voltage regulator. So if you look how small those are, there's 4 of them there. Each one's smaller than my fingernail. That's those little 5-volt voltage regulators, buck style, 2 amps. But yeah, don't send over 20 volts or so into it. So it's good if I'm like using 12 volt and then step it down. This is a PIC 16690. These are those microprocessors that I've built a lot of my designs around, but I just keep reusing them. So just restocking what I've used up. Got 1, 2, 3. I got 4 of them. These are really small. Each one of these, which is smaller than my fingernail, has got 20 pins. Those are the ones that are challenging to solder together. So I remember I blew the last new one of those up. This is Schottky diodes. These are surface mount. These are pretty fun to solder. I've used these before. It is challenging, but look how small they are. They're little tiny things. So not really meant for hand soldering, but I can kind of bend the tabs out, hold it to the circuit board with tweezers. These are the 47 microhenry 1.2 amp inductors for using with that chip. It's what it's rated for, and these seem like they're kind of large to me. I know I could probably find a little smaller ones. I bought 3 more of them, which is this black part right here. So I know they work for that. Oh, on this one is one of those surface mount diodes. I had to extend it because I built the circuit board to use a regular focus, to use regular through hole diodes. So it's that little tiny right there, and then I added a piece of soldered one leg down, and I had to add a piece of like cut off lead off of a resistor, so I would use it to extend it over to the hole. It works. Last bag. Okay, this is just more of those connectors. These are crimp-on connectors, and then you push them in these. So now that we got all those, let's go back to the first things, which I bought. Like, I was getting low on these 6 and 12 pinners, so I was going to buy just 6s and then use 2 6s next to each other to make the 12. That way I only buy one size. But I screwed myself, except one thing. Let's see, here's my circuit boards that I use, and then I have. Well, this is an old project. But here's one of my old circuit boards left, where I accidentally didn't catch in my CAD software that was wrong. Is that the? Yeah, that's the pitch. A full. Forget what it is. They're wide. Somehow I screwed up. So now I could probably just put 2 of these 6s together. You know, if I wanted to use these circuit boards. You know, or I'll use it on another project, and that would make a 12-pin connector. But that's ridiculously big on such a little board. I'll probably just have to eat it and probably save this for automotive use or something, for something that needs high current. I screwed up there. So next time I order DigiKey, I'll have to order some more of these. That sucks. So that's pretty much it. So, well, I got the buck converter and new PIC chip. I'll see if I can unsolder that. I know I can unsolder the buck converter and replace it. I've done that before. The PIC chip, that 20 pin at that small scale pin pitch, you know, how many pins per inch, you know, whatever. That's pretty tight. Make sure I don't have any. I'm just now checking our chat messages. No, not building a multimeter. I use this microprocessor boards, and I just add to show you. I use that, and well, I'm waking up this computer. It's getting slow. It's an old computer. Come on. But I etched the PCB. All right, see if it opens my app or not. Wow, this computer usually just works fine. All right, it's not going to be there. Let me Windows D and get to the desktop. Wow, computer, it's pissed. Of course, I never shut this computer off. There we go. Here it is, Express PCB right here. Sometimes I say Express, that's a competitor. But and it's going to open. and I'll show you how I make my circuit boards. And then I just buy all the parts, but I basically build a basic prototype. And what it is it's a microprocessor, those 8-bit chips. I build a circuit and then I mirror it and put the same circuit twice on the same board. And then basically they make a board this big and etch it for me, and I cut it in half, and I have 2 circuits. So they sell 3 etched boards for $50. I put 2 of the same circuit on each board and cut them in half, and I get 6 boards for $50. 6 dual layer boards, and then I just put my parts on there. So it's a whole microprocessor. It can communicate to these liquid crystal displays. And I just use the same, once I made my design, I just build them all the same. And then I kind of have some spots for push buttons and then a spots for input and outputs. And I could just reassign the input and outputs based on software, which is this right here. Pretty simple program to make the, it's basically make a duty cycle. I'm just making a frequency generator basically with this. But I could build all sorts of different, I have all sorts of different programs to do different tasks. I'm going to have one of these run my outdoor security lights automatically. So that's one of the things I'm working on right now. And it'll vary the duty cycle to gate a triac to vary the LED floodlights that are going to be out either side of my garage. And I'm going to run them dim all night from a photocell input on here. So when the sun goes down, it's going to turn on my LEDs, but to a lower level. And then when somebody crosses a laser beam, perimeter beam from my property, it's going to go up to full brightness because we get these little jerks that have been coming in and like getting into our cars if we leave the doors unlocked. So the lights will go bright when they walk into my yard, and they'll turn around and leave. Maybe I can even make one of these make a sound. Like maybe make a little ding dong sound through a PA speaker or something. Not loud, but just just so they hear ding dong, and they'll go, oh, they know I'm here, and they're going to turn around and leave. So yeah, so I could do all sorts of different stuff with this. I could feed, anything up to 20 volts into it, at least 5, and then it just runs 5 volts. And then my mode switches, I could put potentiometers on there if I wanted, all sorts of stuff, because there's analog inputs in these chips. These chips do a lot. They have 3 different counters. These chips are, by the way, they're like less than $2. There's 3 different counters, a 16 and 2 8s, or 2 16s and an 8. I forget. It just, there's different purposes for them. And, this looks like a brand new chip. Oh, this isn't. Something else. There's several analog to digital converters, comparator, all sorts of different stuff, but you can't use it all at once because there's only 20 pins. The pins just get reassigned. Oops, wrong sheet. Get my schematic out. Come on, wind. Got a fan on. So there we go. So I usually write down what I'm doing. I'm using this input. So port A5, pin 5, or a bit 5 on port A, it could be an input, or it could be a clock input or an oscillator input. Clock in, depends on what you're using it for, and then you got, RA4, which is port A, bit 4. It could be an analog input, which would be analog 3. You have to, and has all these different functions. So right now I'm just using those inputs. Oops, this is saying my battery's low. Let's turn off the light on the phone. So these could be inputs, all or outputs. Most of them. See how it shows both. It's a bi-state or tri-state or whatever they call them. So those are in or out. That's only an in. So most of them can do in and outs. So like you can see, example, like my LCD takes up these 3 plus over here 4. So it's 4-bit LCD. So it takes 4 of the pins for 4-bit parallel interface, and it takes plus like 3 other ones. That LED there's an LCD data for. Oh yeah, that's the 4th bit of the data, not that one. LCD, that one, and those 3. The right select, and then there's one over here that's LCD enable. So it takes 4, 5, 6. I think 6 of the pins get used up for me just to send out, to the LCDs that just plug in. with my cable, and I've kind of wired them my own way and the same, so I could plug this same LCD in this one or the other one over there. I have other LCDs, a bunch of different ones. I wired them all the same. I can use them for different projects. I could use, you know, 1 line, 2 line, 4 line LCDs, whatever, using the same protocol. These got, if you look in the digital, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 channels of analog to digital. What that means is you got 0 to 5 volts. It will change. It'll look at a voltage and convert it to a digital value. So 0 is 0 bits binary, and then like 5 volts is the full, like whatever it is, 65,000 something that they compare, or you know, one of the polarities of the function generator, you know, the pulse width modulation, which there's a dedicated one, pulse width, which is pin 5. Yeah, that is that one. So it could do the pulse width modulator there, and then it has some other parts to do with it right there. You could do interrupt on change on any of the inputs on these ones that recognize it. And then you have one dedicated interrupt pin. So if you set this pin up for an interrupt, anytime it like goes from positive to negative, or you can change it from negative to positive. Whenever there's a change in state, you can make a interrupt routine in your programming. So basically, it doesn't matter what it's doing, it'll finish the one last instruction, and it'll jump right to the interrupt routine. So something that can't wait for, you know, has to be done right now, that's what you use that input for. It's pretty cool. It was I've used for different things, and bunch of different things. And if you look in the manual, there's tons of stuff that's not really listed here, but timers, all sorts of stuff. And it's one of those things that I'm not an expert, because I have like 50 hobbies and I never obsess. I don't have ADHD enough to obsess and master anything. I'll start on something and I'll leave it. I mean, I mess around with like amateur locksmithing, and I've got a lock pick set, and then I kind of let it sit here. You know, I'm getting a little better at that because I pick some locks at work sometimes. Here's one of those stupid test locks. It's just too easy. But I have a bunch of some cylinders and stuff. You know, I do that. Electronics, guitars, amps, keyboards, just stuff. You know, the car project, the Turbo Mustang, and I haven't even begun to modify that Mustang I have now. It's just pretty much stock still. Had a little bit of racket coming from the engine. I don't know if it's just from the valve train or if it's actually got something going on in the bottom end. I haven't even pulled a valve cover on it. Just it's getting to be too hot to do that right now. So, as I said, I just can't obsess and just stick to one thing. I can't come in here every day and day out and just do the same stuff. I just come in here a little bit, and then I'll leave it for like a couple days or weeks, and then come back in here. So, I mean, I got stuff to start this LCD project. And like, here's the project box. I mean, I laid this in here, and I was messing around, and here's my laser. This laser worked. It will send a beam across my yard, and I was controlling it with pulse width modulation. I took this out of a laser pen, and I soldered that plug on there. I figured out the polarity, and I got that sucker working. It works good. And I just need to make a mount, and like mount it on one end of my property. And then I got mirrors to reflect it around, and I'm gonna go into a receiver. I started that like 2 months ago. That's been sitting there. It's just I can't obsess and just focus on something. So that's pretty bad. Sometimes I just watch too many YouTube videos or something, and time gets away from me. So anyway. Yeah, and of course it's summertime, so it's just I feel tired when we come home and whatnot. So anyway, yep. So that's pretty much getting this video a little long, but yeah, I love getting stuff from DigiKey. It does suck when I misorder something. Somehow I screwed that order up, and I had the other ones part numbers. I was going off the part numbers I've already ordered, and I clicked to change to something else. I thought I was in the same family of parts, and I screwed up. So I don't know if I'll have to just order some more of those on the next order. And the thing is, when you order from DigiKey, there's always going to be $5-6 shipping. So what I usually do is just find things that I consume and buy it, you know, like that, or resistors. When I usually buy the resistors in hundreds. Oh, I didn't know it was that low. Oh, that's 22K. 10K, 1K, yeah. So I buy these in like 100, so I still probably got about 50 of each of those flavors. You know, 100K, 33K, I don't have any of those. 22, those are odd, you know. 220s, what is that? 470, 1 megs. Out of those, out of the 220K, 100K, yeah, I already showed you that. 2.2s, 4.7s, 7.5s, you know, and it says MISC on that one. So I have different stuff in here. Capacitors, by the way, capacitors are really expensive, like when there was Radio Shack and now Fry's Electronics. They're way cheaper at DigiKey. So usually I order just stuff like that and try to make it like this was like a $26 order. It was like all this was like $26. I got like 4 microprocessors, I think 4 more of those voltage regulators, coils for the buck converters, you know, connectors, 20 push buttons, you know, and then the wrong Molex plugs, and then the right Molex, you know, pins. And you can see here from all the other orders, there's still stuff left. You know, I still got stuff. Here's you know, those Molex pins. You solder, crimp them on, and then you snap them into the plug, and it makes these nice professional-looking cables. Focus. So that's just my hobby. So anyway, maybe I'll get a chance to work on some of it this weekend. With that, I will catch you guys later. Phone's about to die.